I will never forget making this film and the people I made it with, especially the stunt team, because that was such a huge new world and such a level of transformation that I couldn't have dreamt that up.
The Marvels. Look, I loved The Marvels. I loved it in theaters. I loved it at home. It is so much fun. It's one of my favorite MCU movies out of this new era, this new saga of MCU films. It's currently available on digital to buy at digital retailers, and it arrives on 4K, 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and DVD on February 13th. Zawe, you did such an amazing job in the film. And I love Nia DaCosta's work. I love that Candyman film that she did. I'm a huge fan of it. Can you talk to me about working with her as a director and what her directing style added to the Marvels?
Nia is pretty much the reason I did this movie. You know, we met talking and connecting about a very, very different style of project at the beginning of COVID. And on the other side of COVID, she asked me to come on this new journey that she was taking, which was so far away from the film that we were talking about. It was the sequel to Captain Marvel. And even in the way that she was talking about it and offering it to me, it was like she was offering me an indie. You know, she's indie to her core. That's her roots. That's where she started. And so it was this fantastic way of approaching a juggernaut, but with this independent spirit and all that represents, which is like just getting to work on the characters, you know, not letting a lot of the noise in, making sure that everyone is, you know, happy and looked after, and everyone understands the assignment, as it were. And so I would say going to work every day on these incredible sets at Pinewood Studios, which is this epic place to work as an actor. It just is, whatever style of movie you're doing. I would say going there every day felt like we were making a tiny film. Wow. But we were making this all singing, it turns out, all kick-ass, all, you know, space invading epic. But you never would have known it. Yeah, she's a great woman, and her legacy with this movie, I think, is amazing. You know, she's many different firsts for this franchise, and long may that continue.
You've described this film as the Spice Girls in space, and it's such a refreshing entry into the MCU with an all-female-led cast with Samuel L. Jackson. But Nia DaCosta directing. This is a female-led, produced by Mary Lavanos, also written by Nia, Megan McConnell, and Alyssa Karasik. What does it mean to you to be a part of this empowering female-led project in the MCU?
It means everything. It's the reason I want to do this work. It's the reason that my inner child was kind of healed on the process of doing this piece. You know, I think a lot of us young girls didn't see movie posters like this one growing up, and that didn't mean that we weren't into these worlds and that we weren't engaged in that kind of material and that we weren't the audience for it. They just weren't being made. And so it's meant everything. And to be, again, part of such a hugely female heavy ensemble, and also in terms of the heads of department, it was groundbreaking, and hopefully will be one of the last films to have to say it was groundbreaking. This will just become the norm for the generation of actors and writers and directors and producers behind us, you know.
Your character, Dar-Benn, is definitely dead at the end of the movie. That's a spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't seen it. But it seems like she is. But considering her death tears a hole in reality, theoretically, could she have been transported to another universe, maybe, and lived out that way?
I hope so. Joe, I would love that. If that big explosion of purple light was actually her transforming into some other being. I mean, selfishly as an actor, of course I would hope that that was a possibility, because I had the best time making this movie, the best time. And to continue the journey somehow would be just incredible. Saying that, I'm also so happy with the arc, and I'm so happy with how things turned out. But look, if she came back, I would just love that. There's part of me that thinks she's not quite done.
Me too. Me too. So let me ask you this. Do you know, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the musical planet, Aladdin.
Aladna. Yeah.
Do you know what happened to the musical planet? And was there anything in the movie or script about the planet's fate?
No, there was not. I wish there had been. It's one of my favorite sequences in the movie. I'm so glad you brought it up. I think it divides people sometimes. I just absolutely loved it. And I also was disappointed that my character didn't get to sing. We kind of, thought that maybe because of who Dar-Benn is and, the Cree energy, like she could just somehow be understood and wouldn't have to sing. But I'm very sad that we didn't get to hear her singing voice. I've said in another interview, surely she should have had like some amazing Nicki Minaj-esque kind of rapping style of voice. She could have come with a whole Dar-Benn rap situation, which I personally would have been excited to see.
How cool would that have been? Amazing. Now, I know that you can only fit so much into a movie that's an hour and 43 minutes long, but the quantum bands are of Cree origin. Did you have any more information about the quantum bands that were either cut from the film or explained to you during the process of making the film?
I think there will be some stuff in the extra footage. The journey of the bands and what they mean to Dar-Benn and how they influence her powers and her intentionality in trying to find them, and their power as artifacts was kind of rooted in Ms. Marvel. But then also we had different ways of being able to expand upon that, not all of which ended up in the movie. So it was conversations and hopefully judicious changes as we went along. So I couldn't tell you what's on the extra reel, but there were lots of ways that we had to put respect on the Bangles names. So there was a lot of conversations.
I want to get your opinion on this because there's a popular theory that the quantum bands in Shang-Chi's rings are like the Infinity Sagas, or like this saga's Infinity Stones. Do you think the quantum bands will make an impact in either Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, or Avengers Secret Wars?
I certainly think they have the power to turn up again. I know nothing hard and fast.
That's a fantastic answer. Fantastic answer.
Hard and fast. I mean, we did joke a lot on set, like all of these years, everyone's waited to have an all-female, driven Marvel movie. And actually, it's just about bracelets.
Right.
Not a little... That's what we're trying to get away from. But that was just a running joke. They are a hugely, hugely powerful force, and they could be used for good and evil later. I wouldn't like to say.
Incredible. Now, look, I know some of the best bit of advice that you've gotten from your partner, Tom Hiddleston, was practical, more so about the zippers, making sure you can go to the bathroom, which makes the most sense to me. Absolutely makes sense to me. But what was some of the best advice he gave you about joining the MCU? He
just really generously said, what you put in is what you get out. This is an incredible franchise that is 10, 14 years deep at this point, and so the people who originated it knew nothing and built it from belief and commitment. And so you could come into it later along down the line once it's been successful and feel like you don't have to bring that same game. Sure. And actually, you need to bring that game every time, because these are long hours that you work, just on a really basic level. These are incredible physical endurance tests these days, training and fighting and trying to make these huge worlds seem human and believable and accessible. So he just said, what you put in is what you get out. You just got to meet it with an open heart every day, and that's how you'll get the best experience and hopefully the best movie. And for me, I had, honestly, hand on heart, one of the best experiences of my life. I will never forget making this film and the people I made it with, especially the stunt team, because that was such a huge new world and such a level of transformation that I couldn't have dreamt that up. So yeah, that was the kind of deeper advice outside of the zippers.
Look, I feel like once a Marvel character is introduced to us, that character really, truly never dies. I mean, they can come back through the What If series or whatever it may be. But if your character does return, what would you like to explore that you didn't get a chance to with Dar-Benn in the future? I was keen to explore more of her origin story and the origin story for the Kree. I think generally I would love to, obviously it's been done in different ways and Secret Invasion has its a whole other thing. I mean, I just love the idea of this young woman who feels like she needs to avenge her people, and just to see, I don't know, more of the origin story would be amazing. But obviously, if I came back and I had to cross over with a bunch of people, I mean, I've already joked about this today, but it would have to be to cross over with Loki and Daredevil. Yeah. I basically started, in a play with Tom and Charlie Cox, and they were in this huge universe, which at that time I didn't know that much about. So if we could make that full circle happen, would be quite fun. That would be absolutely incredible. Now, the last question I have for you is, when I get home entertainment releases, I love doing like double features of films. Now, I know the obvious answer here would be Captain Marvel, the first Captain Marvel, but if you compare the Marvels with any other movie and do like a double feature at home, what would you choose? With another Marvel movie? It doesn't have to be a Marvel movie. It can be any movie. That's such a great question. I want to go away and think about it for a really long time. Because I kind of like Thelma and Louise, you know what I mean? Like these two women that are on the run is like bandits, but like there's I just like pairing different movies together to do like a double feature. Such a smart question. Oh, thank you. I mean, why not pair it with something like Barbarella, Yes. And really go back to a very vintage era of women in space and taking up that sci-fi space. I think that would be really interesting. Thank you so much for your time. The Marvels is currently available to buy on digital at digital retailers and arrives on 4K, Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and DVD on February 13th. You are absolutely incredible. I can't wait to see you return eventually to the MCU, but this is such a fantastic movie. I had so much fun with it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Joe.